It has been a little while since we've jumped in the old time machine, but today it is time to get back to the Look Back series, the series where we travel back to a specific year and talk about our favorite music, movies, and video games. Today we are going to travel back to 2004, and in our little spaceship we've got a special guest. Ooh. Yeah, what are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Oktoberfest by Surly. This is an Oktoberfest by Surly.
All right, sounds pretty interesting. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss one of our bi-weekly uploads. And sit back, relax, pour yourself an Oktoberfest beer in August if you care to, and let's travel back to 2004. Here we are. It is 2004.
Oh, wow.
1 year before I graduated high school.
And I was still in elementary school.
Yeah. But today's a little bit different of a look back. 2004 is a special time frame. We brought along a friend who knows all about 2004. Welcome to Gaming Off the Grid, Super Nicktendo.
Hey,
there he is,
everybody.
Dude. So you were alive in 04. I'm assuming.
I was alive and actually out of high school and out of college, actually. So
we're three different aspects of life.
Yes.
In 2004. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, because you would have been 10.
I was in 4th grade.
Nick, if you want to feel old, just think about that. That's I have to deal with that every day. So
I just turned 21. So
so you were slamming beers and I was slamming addition.
All right, so 2004, you guys have seen these before. You know the drill. We take a look back at some of the music, movies, and then we get to video games because it is a gaming channel that moved us that we'll never forget. Tell some stories along the way. Let's jump into one of our favorite things, and is music. Let's talk about the music from 2004. Nick, do you want to take it away? What were you jamming on in 2004, man?
music. Well, let's see here. I had to think of what was popular back in 2004 and everything, and I guess just one of those things that I listened to was "Lose It" by Eminem.
I believe that was off the Encore album. Right?
Yeah.
That's a great album.
I think that was his album after the Marshall Mathers.
Yeah,
EP,
so he was
the
king of the world in this era.
Yeah, cool. So were you really into rap and stuff back then? Was that kind of your jam?
I listened to a whole bunch of different music and stuff. So I got into Eminem because, that's what you listen to as you were graduating high school and everything. Mathers LP and everything. So when he came out with that song, you had to listen to it. So it's a little bit more poppy than his regular stuff. So
it's funny that you're saying you listen to that when you graduated high school, because I remember distinctively listening to Eminem, this album, on the bus going to elementary school. It's just crazy.
And you probably had that feeling if my parents knew I was listening to this, I'd be dead.
Oh yeah, I was definitely breaking the law.
So the album that I would pick from this era is ironic because I wasn't listening to it in 2004. In 2004, I was really into Modest Mouse.
Ooh.
I was really into, I think it was The Crow Left at the Murder by Incubus. I distinctly remember going to a camp, and those were the 2 CDs I brought with me. But then, looking back at it now, as time has went by, one of my favorite albums of all time came out in 2004, and that's Whatever Happened to PJ Souls by Local H.
By Local H, great freaking pick.
So that's my pick for 2004.
That is one of my favorite albums of all time. Before I let you know what my pick is, there is some honorable mentions that I have, because 2004 was a great year for music. So we've already talked about Eminem, Encore, fantastic album. American Idiot by Green Day came out 2004.
Yeah, that was such a killer tour.
Dude,
and I was so happy for them to be back in the limelight. I didn't love all the stylistic stuff around it.
But I feel like that kind of rebirthed Green Day. They rebranded with that.
Yeah.
And speaking of Green Day, guess who was on tour with them in 2004? My Chemical Romance, 3 Cheers to Sweet Revenge came out in 2004.
You ain't gonna slip that past me because I seen him twice on that tour, buddy.
You son of a bitch. I wish I would have saw him, but I didn't know who they were.
They still have some old punk rock posters from the Fireside Bowl where they were just opening bands for.
Dude.
So I have posters that say My Chemical Romance opening up for Oh, I forgot what it was, like Atreyu or something.
Yeah,
It had to be so cool.
That is awesome.
Before they like got huge. Sonic Youth the Nurse came out. That's a pretty good album. But I think my album has to be the album you already talked about, Whatever Happened to PJ Souls. I think we've talked about this a lot on the channel.
We have.
But Local H is one of my favorite bands, and this album, hands down, is one of the best rock albums, alternative rock albums ever made.
And it's their crown jewel. It's so weird.
So good.
Because their album in 95 or 96 rather was the one that sold millions of records, all that stuff, and put them on the map. This album is their best work. The song Buffalo Trace. I mean, there's so many good songs.
California
Buffalo Trace
song
is one of the best rock songs ever.
Dude, what sucks about this album is it's not on streaming because of like legal rights and stuff. So the only way I listen to it is on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because it's one of my favorites.
Or my old crusty CD, and it does skip a little bit because it's got a lot of miles on those tires. But anything else either one of you have to say about music before we go to the cinema? Have a little cinematic adventure.
Yeah, actually, it's not necessarily like a music album per se, but in 2004, Dave Matthews Band dumped 800 pounds of poop over the Chicago River and it landed on an architecture tour boat. So every year that goes by, it happened in August. Dave Matthews Band, I believe, came back for Lollapalooza, I think. It actually, like, it turned out that they're like, each band member had its own tour bus. It was the violinist, and like they kicked the violinist out of the band just recently.
It's funny because when I think of Dave Matthews Band, I mean, they're all right, but they seem like a very calm.
Yeah.
And then hearing that they did that is like, dude, what are you, in a metal band?
Dude, I heard, like, right after he did that, he goes, "What would you say?" But that's just a rumor. I mean, I don't know if that's true. Well, let's go to the cinema. Let's talk about some movies. What were you watching in 2004? What stands out that you, when you look back at that time frame, you're like, that movie's epic?
Well, so Spider-Man 2 came out, so that was a really good time. We, at the time, like, the local radio station kept on giving, like, free, like, tickets to, like, movies and stuff at different theaters. So I got tickets to Spider-Man 2 to go to this, like, themed thing. I don't know if you've ever been to the Alamo Draft House.
I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Yeah, I have.
So it was similar to that, and like the theater had like, it was kind of like actual like club seating, kind of like a dining experience. So you sat around like a round table and stuff, and you could order food, like, and they had like different types of like themed pizzas and drinks and everything that you can order and stuff. I ordered a pizza. It was like a Jurassic Park themed pizza. It was like a meat eater thing, so it had like all this like bacon and like sausages and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to stop that right now, dude, because I might have to get up and walk off the set and go mow.
Dude, that Jurassic themed pizza just makes me so horny.
Well, I think the best way to do that with what you already said would be to have on every slice a hard-boiled egg.
And then you don't know if there's a dinosaur in it or not.
Yeah, it creates the mystery. So is it like Spider-Man 2? Is that your favorite movie, like looking back on it in retrospect in 2021 as we're, we're in the heart of our middle ages? What's your favorite movie now looking back at it?
From 2004, it's kind of a deep thing, but I would say Saved was like my favorite of 2004. You got Mandy Moore, you got Macaulay Culkin. It's just like one of those really off the wall movies that's kind of almost like a cult classic now. Plus you had Macaulay Culkin, who I think like after that you didn't see him.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah, I think he discovered black tar heroin right about that time, and that's why he disappeared for a while.
I'm going to be honest and say I've never seen that.
No, but as soon as we're done filming this, I'm going to jump on eBay and I'm going to order it. So
it was a good movie. I mean, that's another movie that I saw at a special premiere in downtown Chicago.
Cool. So, man, this time frame, a lot of comedies stick out to me. The Anchorman, Without a Paddle.
Dude, that's such a good movie.
My favorite movie from the era is Team America World Police. Matt and Trey Parker. America! Fuck yeah! All about that.
I'm not surprised you picked that.
And like Dodgeball, like one of my favorite quotes is like, "It ain't necessary for me to drink my own urine either, but it's sterile, and I like the taste." So that type of stuff. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. So I just loved the comedies during this time, but there's some more serious movies from 04 that are really good too.
04 had some really, very unique. Like The Machinist came out. That's a really good series.
Isn't that
film.
the one that Christian Bale had to lose?
Dude,
like
Christian Bale's like 90 pounds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
disgusting. Going back to comedies, one of my favorite comedies is Shaun of the Dead. That movie is such a
good.
funny parody, and that started the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, which they made 3 movies where it's Blood and Ice Cream. Napoleon Dynamite came out in 2004, which is so
did
funny.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Euro Trip came out in 2004. Some more serious stuff, Butterfly Effect, The Grudge.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite movies, I saw this in high school, so it was like 2010, but The Crash. This movie is really good because it like takes place within like I think 48 hours, and it's like 3 different storylines that all connect because of a car crash.
You know, I remember that
Dude,
now.
it's
Yeah.
the way the story is told is really good.
Another serious movie. I've always been a big fan of like historically accurate World War II movies, and the movie Downfall
Ooh, I've never seen
is
that.
downfall of like Hitler's reign, and it's a really good film. I actually just acquired it again within the last year or so, so I've watched it a couple times. It's a fantastic movie.
I think my pick though, and of course, man, you're just stealing all my freaking picks. My pick from 2004 is Dodgeball.
Oh, I didn't.
Yes.
That's not my pick though. It was just one of my honorable mentions because of the urine quote.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
F&A, Cotton, F&A.
Such a funny movie. Just everything about it. It's so good, and it still holds up. What's funny is Dodgeball is a movie that's played on TV way too much.
Yeah.
But I watch it every time it's on TV, and I don't get tired of it. It's like
Yeah, I don't even have cable, so I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it, Cotton.
it's so funny.
Yeah, Anchorman definitely was like one of my favorites too. We saw it like with a whole bunch of people at work, and at the time, like you can call people through like the conference calls things, and you call up and you'd be like, "Go back to your home on Poor Island."
Dude, it's so
just
cool
like
you
that.
were seeing this stuff in theaters.
I'm Britt Tamland. People seem to like me because I am polite and I'm rarely late. I like to eat ice cream and I really enjoy a nice pair of slacks. Years later, a doctor will tell me that I have an IQ of 48 and am what some people call mentally
So your channel, our channel, it's all about video juegos,
Yep.
video games. What were you throwing down on? What do you remember? What was going on in 2004? Because you were kind of maybe at that time frame where, I don't know, hanging out with friends and stuff was maybe more fun than playing video games. I think we all go through some of that at some point. What point were you in 2004?
So in 2004, a lot of my friends, because they were a little bit younger than me, they went to DePaul here in Chicago, and so that was the year that they invented the because they have a video game degree. They were one of the first colleges to create like the curriculum for video game, like a degree in video games. They invented like this club called DFrag, and so they had every single video game that you could possibly want, like the top of the line computers, and all set up in a LAN area. And big CRT TVs with any game that you want. People are playing Double Dash, network play, and everything.
Heck yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
My friends, they had this apartment. It was this garden apartment. They called it the bomb shelter. And it was like maybe like the Saturday before Halo 2 launched. It had leaked online, and so like they downloaded it. And we played it across like 2 Xboxes, so like we linked up for like 8-player deathmatch.
my God.
So
Yes.
it's like you had one TV in one area of the room with 4 players, and then you had in the other side of the room, so no one could like peek and everything. So,
Screen cheat.
yeah, so it was a pretty good time. So like the red team played on one TV, and then the blue team played on the other TV.
Dude, that's so freaking awesome.
Halo was just a groundbreaking series or franchise. It just changed the game. LAN parties were
It's
such
just-
a big deal.
Yeah, dude, it revolutionized gaming again, and it was just, man, I wish I would have experienced LAN parties when I was younger. I did it occasionally, like at scout camp and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but it was probably once or twice a year. But man, they are fun.
Yeah, that's why we keep them alive still to this day. So looking back at it, Nick, what game stands out to you the most that like you still would want to play today? Like if you had to drive your stake in the ground and say, hey, this is my favorite video game from 2004.
Well, I guess it would probably be Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
San Andreas, yes.
Like I bought the PlayStation 2 Slim for that because I recently, like back when the GameCube came out, I sold my PlayStation 2 Fat
Okay.
so that I could buy the GameCube and stuff. So like I had missed out on the bulk of like PlayStation 2 games. So then when I rebought, Grand Theft Auto and stuff, I was like, well, they got this PlayStation Slim. And it was so amazing too, because like the PlayStation Slim, when it came out, it's like a quarter the size of the original PlayStation.
It was like this big.
Yeah, and I had brought it to that Halo 2 match and stuff, and people were like, man, this thing is like just crazy. Like, how could they make it so small?
That's what she said.
I remember when I was playing Grand Theft Auto on the PS2, I just was so young that I was just enamored by the fact that you could do whatever the fuck you wanted.
Yeah.
So I never played the story. I would just walk around shooting people in the head and blood would squirt. And then my favorite thing during this era, cheats.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, I used to do cheats all the time in Grand Theft Auto just because I was like, you can get a tank?
Yeah.
And
that was awesome.
Dude, literally, you put the cheat in for the tank and it just goes boom right on the freaking, and then cops drive right into it and blow up.
Yeah, it's killer.
Ah, man, that was so much fun.
But yeah, the other two games were Doom 3 and Half-Life 2.
Ooh, great picks.
My graphics card in Half-Life 2, like I bought the graphics card like the year before because Half-Life 2 was supposed to come out and it was delayed. So I had a voucher for Half-Life 2 when the graphics card came out. And so that's when I started my Steam account. So I've had that Steam account for 17 years now.
Damn, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 is amazing. I love that game. I love that whole series.
That whole series is fantastic. And while we're talking about it, Valve,
yeah,
Half-Life 3, come on.
Yeah, let's go.
Whatever. Yeah. We're not talking about Half-Life. We're talking about video games 2004. Video games were also really cool in 2004. Obviously, the huge one, I was never into it, but World of Warcraft 2004 was on fire. Leroy Jenkins was running around killing people. What a fun, crazy game that people spent hours in.
Oh, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, thumbs up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Oh my god, he just ran in.
I just remember the South Park episode. They're making fun of that.
Yeah, and I never got into it. But I did have friends that were hardcore
and that
PC
game lasted
gamers.
Years.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
I think people are still playing it.
Probably
17 years later. I mean, obviously, I'm playing some of these games now 17 years later. But
yeah, I didn't get into it until 2005, and then that's when I kind of like fell off the earth because like I took to that like it was crack. So I mean, like it just dominated my entire life, and then like after. I think I got my dog in 2007, and that's when I like finally quit because I was like I need something else to like occupy my time. So I like got a dog because I was like, well, I can't take care of a dog and play this game like that's all. Like this will help me like break the habit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, there were so many good games. What's your favorite from the era?
Well, this is probably one of my favorite generation consoles because it's Generation 6. You got the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox, and I just love this generation of gaming just because you got the co-op, you got all the amazing games. They're still doing weird stuff in 2004, which is awesome. So I was trying to think of like something I haven't talked about a lot on the channel. And that's one of my favorites, but I have to go with the game that I've talked about way too much on the channel, and that's Burnout 3. This game is amazing.
Yeah.
We honestly played it today, before filming this episode, for 5 hours?
Yeah, this whole weekend.
Yeah, this whole weekend.
Which was supposed to be a lot of editing, has really kind of not ended up being a lot of editing because of that game. Yeah.
What's crazy is Burnout 3, I'm playing it in 2021. I'm addicted. It's like crack. But I remember playing it on my OG Xbox at my dad's house, which I visited once a month, and that was one of the games he had. So I'm going over to my dad's and then just play Burnout 3 all weekend.
Yeah, I liked it back in the day, but I never owned it, so I loved it when I would play with it with friends, but now I'm head over heels for that game. And that game is probably, man, the most played game from this era today for me, but I still would have to say my favorite game from 2004 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Ooh,
I love that game. It was like an apex of sorts for me because I was obsessed with the first one, the second one, and then 3 was like everything I could have ever imagined.
Isn't 3 your favorite?
Yeah, it is.
In the franchise.
So many Easter eggs. I mean, so much stupid stuff like Ivan, the soldier, he looks like Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2, and when you fight Volgan, if you pause it and put your mask on so you look like Raiden, he goes, Ivan? is that you? He stops his fight, and there's so many Easter eggs like that in the game. The little frogs that you have to find, and if you shoot them, they go like, and that counts. And I don't know. It's just a really fun game.
That's a great pick. We have some honorable mentions, of course, because there's a lot of great games.
Oh, tons.
Madden 05. I know you have a lot of experience with Madden 05.
Yeah. I played the knobs off the Madden series in the PS2 era. It was the apex of the whole franchise, I believe.
And then Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal came out in 2004. Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door, which is going for an insane amount of money right now in 2021.
Yeah.
But that's a great game. Then we got ESPN 2K5, which is another great football game.
Yeah, it was the last one in the series.
I was really hoping MVP Baseball 05 came out in 2004 because sports games usually come out, at the tail end.
But not that one.
Because that one was my jam.
Yep. It was just a cool era to be a gamer. And PC games were thriving as well, but the console scene, I still think Gen 6, for my money, is the best console generation. I don't know. It's all in. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely when Xbox modding, really took off.
Yeah.
And so, I had a Blockbuster membership where you could get unlimited video games. You could rent unlimited video games.
Are you serious?
You can rent, I think, up to 3 or something like that at a time. You could bring it up and stuff. And so, what I would do is, because you would mod the Xbox, so I'd go to Blockbuster, rent 3 games, and then rip them to my hard drive, bring them back the next day or something like that. And finally, I think, eventually you kind of had to slow down because the manager was yeah, why is this kid bringing in all of these games and stuff? So I had accumulated so many games and stuff, and Burnout definitely was the game that we played the hell out of on Xbox. So,
it's so good.
Yeah, and that's what we're playing it on right now as Xbox, actually.
OG
I think it's also on PS2.
What's so cool about this generation is the generation prior was very revolutionary. They were trying 3D and stuff, but this generation is when they got the 3D right. The games still hold up.
Yeah.
The games it's just a perfect generation. It's before online gaming was huge. Obviously, the PS2 had connectivity, the Xbox had online, PC gaming, but
but it was that perfect marriage.
It was the perfect medium because the PS3 and the Xbox 360, that was all online.
Yeah.
I mean, you still had LAN parties and stuff, but it was online.
Yeah, and 2 of the 3 consoles we're talking about had 4 controller ports, so it was still they were couch co-op geared, but you could also play online.
And the PS2 had the multi-tap, which I never had till I was an adult, but I also only had 2 friends, so it didn't matter. And also, going back to the TVs and movies and stuff, this generation, remember how you could play CDs?
Oh, yeah.
That was freaking awesome.
Just on the console. On the console, yeah. There was a visualizer,
it was okay.
Yeah, and then burning CDs was so fun. That was a big deal. And then this is kind of right around the time frame MP3 players were getting popular. Yep. I mean, it was a unique time.
It was a good time. And initially, before we filmed this episode, I was like, man, 2004, kind of a bland year. I feel like it was kind of going to be kind of boring. But then when I dove into it, I was like, okay, 2004 was really cool. They were still doing weird stuff, which was awesome. They were still experimenting. It was a good time. 4th grade, man. What a year. What a year.
4th grade, God. I feel so old. Yeah, I was still living in my parents' basement and stuff at the time. Because I just come out of college and stuff, and my other friends, they were still in college at in DePaul and stuff. So I hadn't actually made an effort to move into the city until 2006. At the time, we were starting to that was at the start of my Nintendo collecting and stuff, because at the time it was emulation was still everybody's well, why would we own physical copies of games? That doesn't make any sense. We got all the games on our computer, dude, thing. And then the culture of emulation started to shift a little bit, because they were wait, emulation isn't as accurate as the real thing, so you have to get the real thing. And at the time it was really cheap, because I think the most expensive game that I had bought was Mega Man, the first Mega Man, for $20. I'm
and that's the most
expensive.
Yeah.
Mega Man 6 is was only $5 or something like that.
That's crazy.
And so it's just you go around picking up games, and and then now it's crazy, because I remember I didn't see Little Samson. I knew of Little Samson and stuff, but the goal at the time was to buy lots of games and then to resell it, because that's when like video stores, rental stores were starting to like shut down and liquidate their stock.
Yeah,
So it wasn't uncommon for you to see like somebody with like a whole crate of video, like Nintendo video games and stuff. Like that's how I got my Power Glove. I bought it with like a whole lot for like $40 or something.
That's crazy.
Came with everything and NES Max and the Advantage. It was like, oh, whatever. It's you want a TurboGrafx 16? Like TurboGrafx 16 is a little bit more expensive at like $45.
When I look back at this generation, I remember, especially towards video games, this was the time where I didn't know the value of games. So I would go to GameStop all the time and sell my stuff for pennies on the dollar just so I could get the next newest game.
Yep.
Like, I did that so much on the PS2, and looking back, I'm like pissed off because a lot of games I would buy from GameStop didn't even come in the real case. They came in like the GameStop case, like, disc only. But I just wanted the game to play it. Like, I didn't care. And now I'm like, man, I got $1 for trading in a game, and then I had to pay like $10 to get another. Just stupid.
Yeah,
but
they were taking us to the woodshed back then.
And I didn't. I had to freaking walk to the mall to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it was a journey.
Yeah, my friends' brothers, like, they used to trade in games like all the time. Like, so they would play the heck out of like all these games and stuff, and then just like trade everything in to GameStop for like pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And then like just get like new stuff. And like when my friend, he passed away in 2007, like I had some of his games, and I was like, I told his dad, I was like, listen, I know that his brothers are going to go through this stuff, but like it means really a lot to me for them to not take those games, because like those games are going to go to GameStop and they're going to be sold for like $1, and like they mean a lot more to me than that. And he's like, all right, I'll let you keep them and stuff. I'm like, thank you, like I appreciate it. Like you can have like the majority of the rest of his stuff, like you can do what you will, like whatever. But the video games, like they have to stay with me.
Well, guys, what do you think about the talking about this beer, Oktoberfest?
Let's talk about this beer, Oktoberfest. It is August when we're filming this.
It is, but it's kind of starting to feel like fall, at least in our area. I can sense it's on its way.
This is the first of the season. Surly Oktoberfest. This guy, traditional, malty, festive, comes in at 6%. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of Surly Brewing and what they do in their IPA realm, and that says a lot because I'm not a huge IPA fan. I enjoy this. Traditionally, Oktoberfest, I like them a little bit because of the seasonality, but they're not one of my favorite styles.
Yeah, they're just kind of.
This has a little bit more hop characteristic than I would expect out of an Oktoberfest, so I'm enjoying it. This will probably be one that I buy a couple 6-packs of this fall, for sure.
This one was only available in a 12-pack, so I was like, whatever. Oktoberfest is my favorite beer season.
Yeah.
So it's we have a lot of like German-inspired breweries around here.
Cool.
We have Metropolis or Metropolitan, and like they have like one. It's called the Afterburner, and like it's really delicious and stuff. And we'll go down to their brewery, which is right on the Chicago River, and of course like they come in these nice glasses and everything like that. So you have to have it in an Oktoberfest glass.
You have to. That's my favorite part of Oktoberfest, is drinking them in those big.
Yeah, I have a couple of those somewhere. I think they're in my freezer. I need to get them out.
Yeah, you do, especially before the season. This beer is really enjoyable. I'm really liking it. It does have a really good malty taste, which a lot of Oktoberfest beers have. This is also an easy drinker. It's a great summer beer since we're drinking it in August. But this would be a great beer, like if it's fall, sitting outside in the garage with a flannel on. Like,
perfect for that.
Yeah, this is like a really good beer.
Well, Super Nicktendo, we greatly appreciate you joining us and coming on this journey back to 2004. I loved the dynamic here that we were all, like, you were still like elementary school, middle school, I'm high school, you're post-college. It was fun to look back and talk about that stuff.
It is cool because I feel like I learned some stuff from this era because I only knew what was around me.
You can thank your elder statesman for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. But appreciate you being on the channel. Anybody watching, make sure you go check out Super Nicktendo. He's doing awesome things. He is dropping videos left and right, and he's a hell of a lot smarter than we are about the technicalities in gaming. So if you enjoy what we do, we're certain you will enjoy what he does. Thanks again, Super Nicktendo, and we thank all of you for joining us on this journey back to 2004. We'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid, unless you're tuned into Super Nickendo's channel and you miss one of our uploads, which that would be just fine with us. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Cool. The soldier, he looks like Raiden from from Metal Gear Solid 2, and when you fight, it's not Olga, that's the girl from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Fight somebody.
Oh, you got to jump on old Google.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman, dude. He's the announcer, and he's like this
stoner looking. Cotton. Let's see if he pulls it off.
Yes,
F&A, Cotton. F&A.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, yep. And Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan.
It's, what is his name?
What's his name? Brendan Fraser.
Whoa, that burst of feeling. What are we drinking
They're
today?
drinking Oktoberfest by Surly. This is an Oktoberfest beer.
By Surly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple. Make sure you
fuck us.
God damn it. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
I've got a horny wiener, I've got a horny wiener, and you've got a butt. Do you want to fuck? Don't.
So people are like, what is that? And I was like, well, it's the Oktoberfest beer. Like, duh, like it says.
You're like, yeah.
There,
How about you ask your mom?
You got Tony Danza in that movie too, and then
Nice.
Matt Dillon,
yes.
I always like singing Elton John's song "Tiny Dancer." Hold me closer, Tony Danza. That's one of my favorite lyrics to slip in there. Going a little bit because it was so heavy.
Well, dude.
So I wish I would have had a Geo
Since
Metro.
we're talking about cars, in 2004, I had a 1969 convertible Hot Wheels, and it was awesome.